You know, I think to be perfectly transparent, I think this one, this topic, right along with call reluctance, I put call reluctance right up there too.
Yeah.
I'd say these, which I think we're doing next, our next episode is on call reluctance. But on the hiring thing, which is what we're talking about today, getting help, I think this. I know I for sure have. This is an area that most loan officers really screw up on. But you
I've
know
done
what?
it too.
But you know what, Chris? It's not their fault. But you know what? Here's the problem. I think there's two problems with hiring somebody. So number one, loan officers are salespeople, right? They just
Right.
happen to be selling loan products. But I've often thought a loan officer is not a loan officer. A loan officer is a sales, or the successful ones is a salesperson. They're selling loan products, right?
Right.
Well, let me tell you what they're not as a general rule. Sometimes, but as a general rule, not. They're not a great HR person. Two
Right.
totally different skill sets.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
every now and then I'll see a rare individual that I have both, but not often. And I fall in that case of not. Like, I think I'm a pretty good salesperson. I know how to HR. I just don't do it. Like I suck at execution,
Right.
right?
Right.
And I think that's a common thread. And I think we suck at execution on it because of the same thing that makes us a great salesperson. And that's and you certainly fall in this category. We're nice people.
Right.
And nice people, not that HR people need to be ogres, right? I'm not saying that.
Right. But I mean, their job is to find the right fit and to go through all the steps
Mhm.
and look beside just a feeling of, oh, I like this person and maybe they can help me.
Yeah, guilty as charged.
Yeah. Me
And you
too.
know, worse are at least equally as bad. If they're not working out, it's not their fault; it's my fault, right? That's that thought that goes in my head, and I know that's not the right answer. Like I know the answer is it doesn't it doesn't matter if it's my fault. The right person will still figure it out and make it work, and not rely on me making them better. Like they'll make them better, just like what you do. You know,
Right.
you make you better. I make me better. Now, you might make me better too, but I'm in charge of making me better, not
Absolutely.
anybody else. You know, and people help me get better. I'm not saying we can't have help. Like God knows I for sure need help with it, but I'm in charge of making me better.
Absolutely.
And,
Well, and you
and
want to be around people that are going to inspire you and push you to grow, but the ultimate choice is up to us.
yeah. So I think as a general like my response is you know when somebody says, "Hey Carl, I need some help. What should I do? Should I go hire somebody?" My honest answer to them is hell no, because you'll probably screw it up, right? Just
Right.
think, just
Because you don't
you're,
know.
yeah, you don't know, and you're probably going to hire somebody that's not experienced. You probably think, yeah, but I can bring them up to speed. You probably think, yeah, but and I have time to bring them up to speed. You don't, because anytime you got your HR hat on, you don't have your sales hat on, and if you're not
Right.
selling, that's costing you a bunch of money, you know, from
Well,
lost opportunity.
do you ever think, go ahead.
And likely you're going to hire the wrong person anyway, because you're
Yeah.
going to hire from your heart, not your head, which is what makes us great salespeople.
Right. Well, and what I was going to say too is do you ever think that maybe I've hired someone just to solve an immediate problem versus looking at where we're headed? So we're thinking really small instead of I
Yeah.
I I feel like yes.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. I've done that in the past and then held on to that person for 15 years.
Right.
And probably after 6 months, it wasn't a fit.
But
Right.
it was
And
the heart just kind of
my heart gets in the way of my head. And yeah. Hey, I got a question for you.
yeah.
Well, wait. Wait. See, we created tension there. Like you're probably going to screw it up. And look, as you're listening to this, I don't know who's listening to this. I might not be talking to whoever you are.
Right.
You might be a great HR person, cause obviously a lot of, some people are. I wouldn't say a lot of people are. Some people are. And as you're listening to that, you might fall in that category. So God knows I'm not saying you suck at this, because you might be amazing at it, right? But as a general rule, I would say 95% of all loan officers are horrible HR, or good producing loan officers are horrible HR. Um, and about 5% can pull off both roles. But even, you know what, even if you're good at HR, by the time you spend hiring somebody,
Right.
if you'd have spent that same amount of time selling, but Carl, I can't sell anymore because I don't need help. Um, man, my always, I think the best thing is either A, lean on your HR department to find the right person.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah, I think almost always we need to get somebody else to do this part for us.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's really important too, because we don't want to take our foot off the gas of prospecting, and we don't want to just hire anyone
Yeah,
just to fill a seat temporarily, which
yeah,
I know in a crunch it's like, well, they can take something off now. But I often think about a car and is analogies. And if you have, let's say you have the axle, and things aren't bolted down correctly, all of them, you're going to come out of alignment.
yeah.
And we don't want that, because it just takes
No, wait a
one
minute.
bolt.
Wait. Are you a car lady? Like, do
I
you?
am a car lady.
I did not know that.
Yes, I am a major car lady. I love cars.
Did not know that.
Yes,
Do
cars.
you tinker with them?
Well, if you want me to really kind of mess things up, I am your girl. Okay, it's kind of like hiring the wrong person.
But you enjoy that
Yes.
part also?
Absolutely. And I like going to
Did
car shows, and I love all that stuff. Yes.
did not did not know that. So you like,
Yes.
a little off topic, but you like classic cars, or do you like new cars, or a little bit of everything, or
I love classic cars. I would love to have a Ford Fairlane, and I an old Mustang.
shut up?
But I love new cars. So funny thing, me and my kids, you know how when you're traveling, your kids in the car, they would like guess a letter off a sign, and you had to do the alphabet.
Uh-huh.
Well, I played a different game with my girls, and it was, tell me what that car is then. And so that was our game. Because I can tell you if it's a Honda Civic, I can tell you if it's a Jaguar, yeah.
I feel good if I can tell you what color it is. So good for
Yeah.
you. Good
Yeah.
for you. I
It's
did not know that. All right. So
so let me ask you this. So if I was to say, and I can answer this as well, but if someone is a part of the marketing animals, and this is for people that aren't too, but in the event that you were a part of the marketing animals, would you agree with me that to identify what you actually need in your business, you would start with doing the acts of freedom?
yeah, I would either do that, or something else I would do, and um man, this could go down a bunny trail here, but I would let me simplify it. I'd I'd make a list. Hey, remind me for us to do an episode on traffic and conversion. I was
Okay.
getting ready to go down a bunny trail, but that'd probably take about 30 minutes. So
Okay.
um I would make a list of all those things that happen before the phone rings. In other words, what are those things that I do that causes the phone to ring? And then what are those things that happens after the phone rings?
Okay.
Right. And I would look at the things that happen after the phone when it rings. What can I farm out so that I can do more of the activity to make the phone ring? Because understand, like always think of it like at McDonald's. So somebody pulls up at McDonald's. The minimum wage person is the person that takes the order at the window, right?
Right.
The person that makes all the money is the person that got that car to drive up to the window, right? It's the marketing person. So same thing in our loan
Absolutely.
officer world. The person that answers the phone and takes the app and structures the loan, all important. Just like making the French fries and pouring the coke, all important. Like somebody pulls up
Right.
for a meal, somebody needs to bring the lady a meal, right? I mean, somebody that's they pulled up for a meal, provide them a meal, right? It's an important thing. But the money's made getting the person to drive up, and the money's made getting the phone to ring. And so figure out what is that activity that makes my phone ring and do more of that. And whatever happens after the phone rings, farm as much as that possible out. I think the mistake that I see most often is number one. So, number one, what you already said, mistake number one is putting the loan officer in charge of hiring and training their assistant. That's a huge mistake, right? Huge.
Yes, I agree.
Almost always. Huge mistake. Not always, but almost always. Um, the second one is, but Krista, you don't understand. I'm only closing 3 loans a month. Um, I have to get to insert in number 7. I get this call often. I need to be closing, and I hear numbers 6, 7, 8. That's probably the 3 most popular. I need to be
Right.
closing 6 or 7 or 8 loans a month, then I'll get help. And I asked a question. It sounds like a smart aleck question, but it's not. It's like, all right, awesome. How long have you been trying to hit that number? And of course, it'll be everything from 3 years to 23 years, right? And I go, well, how's that working out? Well, no, it's not. Well, something has to change or nothing changes, right? We all know that something's got to change or nothing changes. And so you don't you don't get to 8 and then get an assistant. You get an assistant, then you go to 8.
Right.
Like you don't win the Super Bowl and then get the quarterback. You get the quarterback and then you go to the Super Bowl. You don't win the Daytona 500 and then buy the car. You buy the car, then you win the Daytona 500. And so it's the same thing with help. And so I think that, if but I get the economics of it. Somebody might say, well, Carl, I'm only closing 1 or 2 or 3 loans a month. I can't afford a full-time help. And I would agree with that. That's
Right.
very likely the case. However, I can look at other people in my branch. Let's just say if you're another loan officer in my branch, just say, I could call you and I say, hey, Krista, I'm thinking about getting some help so I can do more of that activity that makes the phone ring. What do you say you and I go in together? And by the way, we can get, you know, Sarah in the office too, a made up name. We can get Sarah in the office too, and the 3 of us will share that one person. And I think that
Yes.
works out really well because as long as my help helps me and I don't have to wait on that help, I think that's fine. Because that's like, and I've given this example before. Right now, I'm sharing the internet with my guess is 1,000 other people here in my neighborhood ish. I don't have 1,000 people in a neighborhood, but you get the idea of
Yes.
here in this area. For sure, I'm sharing it with 1,000 other people this very moment, but I can't tell. You and I are doing a Zoom, which is how we record these. And I see you, you see me. You look awesome, by the way.
Oh,
So I see,
thanks. You too.
well, you're kind, but I see you, you see me. It's working perfectly. It's not skipping. So I can't tell I'm sharing it. So I don't care if I'm sharing it with 1, 2, or a million, as long as it's working for me. So same thing with an assistant. I don't care if I have to share somebody that as long as they're able to work on my files and help chase the pay stubs and the bank statements and keep everybody updated and things like that. I think sharing somebody is just absolutely fine. So if somebody's waiting until I close 6 or 8 before I get help, yeah, that's probably not going to work out real well. Like it.
Yeah, that's gonna be a hard one. We're
Mhm.
a big proponent here on the Steve Kyle's team of you get one the day you start. And because we know that that will help you move the needle. And that's really important. We want to see you out doing what you are really good at, which is prospecting, getting the phone to ring.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. This is a question that I get often too is does this individual, my loan partner or LOA, loan officer assistant, need to be licensed? What's your take on that?
If you need to be licensed, they need to be licensed.
Okay.
So say somebody that works for a depository typically doesn't need to be licensed, right? And
Right.
again, that I'm just making blanket statements here of hypothetical situations. But like if loan officers at Bank of America may not need to be licensed, right? Because they're a depository institution and they work under different rules and regulations, which makes no sense to me whatsoever. Awesome institution, it's not their fault, but
Right.
it's just weird that like some of us have to be licensed, some don't. I've never quite understood that. So, or maybe I understood it and don't want
One,
to.
two.
I don't want to know why they did.
Yeah.
Anyway, doesn't matter. It is what it is. And so, but in like, if you're a loan officer and you need to be licensed, so does your assistant. Because like, what if I'm on vacation? Which next week I'm going to be in Alaska. Me and the lovely Mrs. White and our two kids and their spouses we're going to Alaska for the week. And so, if a loan comes in and somebody wants to do an application, in that situation, somebody needs to be able to take the application. Like nobody
Right.
wants to wait until Krista gets back from a week vacation, or help. People don't want to wait 2 hours while Krista's meeting with a realtor.
Right.
So have somebody in the office that can take applications. You might normally take them, but have somebody there, dear God, have somebody there that's able to take them if you're out for the day or out for the week or break your foot or got the flu or, like whatever. And so for me, they might not be licensed on day one, but they have to get licensed. And I just picked an arbitrary number. They have to get licensed in the first 90 days. And if they're not licensed in the first 90 days, if they can't get licensed, I got the wrong person. So
Right.
I'd say probably 80% of the time, 90% of the time when we hire them, they're already licensed. And about 10 or 20% of the time, especially when I first got started, I would get a non-licensed. They're experienced, but a non-licensed person because maybe they were working at a depository,
Right.
say a processor, and then they came over to work, or they're working for a credit union, and then they come work over here with me. They're not licensed yet, but they get licensed in the next 90 days. Because what I don't want to ever get into is like, well, they kind of don't take the app, but they kind of get some information. It's like I don't like to play in the gray area, right? I think
Right.
that there's a line there, and I stay the hell away from the line, and I recommend everybody do that too. Like don't get yourself into trouble,
So
which is easy to do.
let's say I find the right person,
Okay.
they're in alignment, they're licensed. I know exactly what activities I want them to do. Um, Here's now my big question. What do I pay them? Should I pay them basis points? Because this comes up a lot as well.
Hey, before we do that, what would you have them start doing? Like over there on your guys' team, I'm a loan officer. It's day one. I just started. Um,
What do we do?
yeah.
So
What's the setup? So that way somebody can. Hey, so for our branch managers that are listening to this today, listen to this and implement this in yours. So Chris, so let's say for the loan officers, I go to my branch manager and I say, hey, whatever, Debbie, whatever his or her name, it's a hypothetical name, right? So, hey, Debbie, I'm closing 3 loans. I need an assistant. And Debbie says, Carl, hey, it's just not there with you closing 3 loans a month, right? Well, I'll share it with Bob and Susan. It's still not quite there. Hey, Debbie, I
right,
tell you what, I'll make you a deal. You get me help, and in the next 90 days, if I don't go from 3 loans to 6 loans, we can let that person go and I'll never bug you about it again. Set yourself a quota, right?
absolutely.
Tell your branch manager or your district manager or your owner or whoever, set yourself a quota. And,
I
cause
love that. I
yeah,
love that because you're holding yourself to a goal.
yeah.
It's obtainable and you believe in it.
Because
And
my branch manager Debbie, and again, that's just a hypothetical name here, but like if I have a branch manager and Debbie, her biggest fear or his biggest fear is she's going to go get help, which is some overhead. And then in my newfound free time, where I'm not chasing bank statements or whatnot, I'm gonna go out fishing, right? And she goes, well, what the hell did I gain? Oh, to herself, how did Debbie
right.
benefit from this? Carl's got more free time, but instead of closing more loans, he's out flying a kite, which is okay to do on some days, by the way,
Yeah.
just not every day,
Not every day,
not
Monday
every
through.
day.
It's the Stephen King that you've talked about in the past of, he's like, Well, I do it when I feel like writing, and people are like, "Well, when do you feel like writing?" And he's like, "Monday through Thursday." That's discipline, and it outweighs motivation.
Yeah.
And for it to be successful, you have to consistently do what moves the needle, which
Hey,
is
so what's
not
the
flying
first
behind.
what's the first thing like I like when like give me a name of a loan officer that works over first name, not last name, but first name of a loan officer over there.
So, Kenneth,
All right, perfect. So Kenneth started. What's like the first thing the assistant does for Kenneth?
so the way that we do, so we are big proponents of time blocking. So, for instance, on Mondays, we're going to have our morning meeting. Then we're going to work on applications that came in, schedule consults. Now, let's say Tuesday is what we call non-converted leads day.
Okay.
So it's kind of like the daily success plan, but for loan officer assistants or loan partners. So we have that Monday through Friday, and so Friday's our marketing day. Tuesday's our non-converted lead day. Wednesday, so they're working on this all the time, every week. So 2, 3 hours a day on that, and then they will follow up on documentation, what we call slow lane. So we like to have a clear mortgage path. So that's something Kenneth will, in the loan consultation, set down and make sure that that's defined. And then we follow up on that as a loan partner. So we will follow up and say, okay, so based off your clear mortgage plan, you are going to be looking in the next 90 days. This is just a hypothetical scenario. Are you on track to still do XYZ? And we'll follow up on that every single week, because it's kind of like your pre approved in lookings. It's the one week you don't follow up that they find a house and they go with the first lender that was sent to them. And
Yeah.
even though you stayed on it for, 15 weeks, they went somewhere else because they were just given another name. And it was the one week that you didn't call. And I'll never forget, someone told me a story like that. And I was like, oh no. And he was like, I should have had my loan partner follow up on it, which they can jump in and do those calls as well. So for Kenneth, one of the things that she will do is, in the event that she's gotten several applications, which she does, she has just done amazing. She will have her loan partner reach out and do like the follow up, just ask days and ask for the business.
So the loan partners actually help generate even more loans for me, the loan officer.
Absolutely.
So
They should always be asking for the business. That is not just a loan officer responsibility. If we're a team and you're going to align with me, we're always asking for the business.
on behalf of so it's still the loan officer's loan, but the loan partner is the one
Absolutely.
that asks. Yeah, which
So
only
we
makes
use
sense if they're calling the borrower asking for a pay stub. Why not throw in a call to action at the end? Hey, I got the pay stub. Krista also or Kenneth. I got the pay stub. Thank you very much. I'll get this over to Kenneth. Really getting over to the processor, right? So I'll get this over to Kenneth. And Kenneth also, when he asks you, are any of your friends, family, or coworkers looking to buy, sell, or refinance right now?
Yes,
And
because
so,
Kenneth and I would love to work with you.
mhm,
It depending on who I'm talking to, but if it was a realtor, we'd love to close more than two loans with you and see you at the closing table.
right.
Stuff like that.
What if, what
And
if what if my assistant says, hey, I'm supposed to collect pay stubs, not I'm not a salesman. I'm not here to ask for business. What happens in a situation like that?
so I would say they're not the right fit, because their income is based off of getting more loans in the door. We all have to have that same mindset. There
Mm-hmm.
is no operations without sales, and it's just the hard truth. If our sales is not bringing in the business, we don't need a need for operations. And that I could turn that into a lot of different things. It's like I don't need a CRM if I don't have a foundation of business.
Mm-hmm.
What am I gonna plug in there? Do you see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So
So the loan partner, if they were to, hey, well, I'm not a salesman, was probably not going to work out over here, right?
right,
Because
and
if we
that's
don't have
okay.
if yeah, and if we don't have because if we don't have loans, we don't need a loan partner.
Right.
And you
And
know, one
why
thing I've
wouldn't you
also
wanna help us grow?
say it again.
Why wouldn't you wanna help your team grow and
Yeah,
get more volume in the door?
I
Y
couldn't
So
agree.
it's an alignment issue.
When I hear, and I've only probably heard it twice in my career, but when I hear somebody do the old, it's not that's not my job. That's not what I was hired for. Boy, that is just like fingernails on a chalkboard, and it's like we're over, like
Yeah,
done. Like there's
it's
no
not gonna
recovery.
work.
Yeah, there's no recovery from that. So all right, so instead of hiring somebody, get somebody to hire for you,
Yes.
which could be your branch manager, your district manager, the owner of your company. Maybe you have an HR department.
Lean
Uh,
into the
um,
HR department. I would absolutely recommend that if you have one. Lean
yeah.
into that because they're very good at that and they enjoy doing that. I will tell you, Carl, from all my experiences hiring, because I have several years of a background in that, and I loved it. But my one bit of advice would be don't dress up stiff. So I like the suits and
Wait,
ties and stuff.
say it again.
I said, don't dress up and look stiff because I don't think we get people's true colors um, if they're not comfortable. And there's that intimidation, if you will. I have always been able to see more of who people are when I'm dressed casually in an interview. I know it sounds silly, not
Hmm.
casual, but I think it lets them know like, okay, I'm safe here. There's no intimidation factors there.
So don't wear my Led Zeppelin T-shirt, but don't maybe not wear my my tuxedo also. Somewhere in between there.
That's just my
Yeah,
personal I'm not it can work for other people.
yeah,
That's just
yeah,
my personal findings is
yeah,
when I've leaned more towards the hey, I've got jeans and my shirt on and some little high heels or something. It works
yeah,
better than my tuxedo.
yeah. I can. Yeah, I got that. So hey, I got an idea. What if somebody wants to get a list of here's what the loan officer does and here's what the assistant does. Is that something you could help people with?
Absolutely. And I would love to. I would love to help them. They can reach out to me at www.meetupwithkrista, Krista.com.
Meet up with Krista, Krista, meetupwithkrista.com. And who wouldn't want to do that? Like
I would love to meet with them. I can tell
that
you
is
that.
that is, and yet what do you do? Just like a Zoom meeting kind of thing?
Yes, I can do a Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
That's typically what I do. And then
Mm.
I can also, if they say, hey, you know what, just reach me out on my cell phone, I'm happy to do that as well. I just would love the opportunity to connect in any way I can help.
And you guys have dozens of loan officers that work over there, and everybody has a loan partner. So, and you have loan partners that work what we're going to call after the contract, and you also, depend upon the volume, of course, you have assistants that happen before even the contract, like that can actually
Yes.
help take the applications and whatnot. And so maybe when as you're listening to this today, if you want to know like, well, when do they get a front end and when do they get the back end and what does each person do, and maybe some pay suggestions or something like that, meet up with Krista.com. I think the biggest thing, don't try to build the car, find a car that already is winning the Daytona 500 and jump in that one.
Yeah.
All right, so I think I got the gist of it. So have somebody else help me with the hiring. For sure, put somebody else in the role of deciding if they're not a good fit, and when
Yes.
to let them go, because I'll never let them go. Right, that's not going to work out so well. And get Krista's meet with Krista and get a list of what does each person do, and that'll be a really, really, really good use of your time. Meet up with Krista.com. So I think we covered this one okay.
I do. It was a pleasure, and I look forward to speaking with everyone and helping you with your hiring journey.
Yeah. Thanks, Krista. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, hey
Bye-bye.
guys, thanks for listening and thanks for hanging out with Chris and I. Get hooked up and we'll talk to you on the next episode. Thanks again, everybody.